Good evening. Anita Hamilton here. It's June 3rd. I haven't done any educational pieces and from Anita's perspective in a while. So I wanted to reach out to you because there was a historical update today on the George Floyd situation today, and that they've upgraded the charges on the officer to second-degree murder, and that the other 3 officers are being charged as well. So that's good news. And and I wanted to also today reflect between my YouTube channel and my Facebook postings, just from my personal experiences in life as an ordinary person, in regards to the protesters and my experiences about racism as an African American woman at the age of 60, my feelings about everything that has been going on. I have to admit that last night here in Boston, Massachusetts, watching from my apartment, even though the states have been opening up, I've pretty much have still been staying very close to home. So I haven't been participating in any of the marches. I'm recovering. I had knee surgery, and so being at the age of 60, I can't be out there trying to march with you young folks. Not right now. So I've been watching from home. I've been supporting you in prayer, and just being concerned, to be quite honest with you, because I actually was a little girl during the end of the civil rights movement in the 60s and 70s, and I actually was a part of the desegregation program era here in the Boston Public Schools here in Boston, and I actually was a pioneer student in the METCO program here in Massachusetts. I was the first Black female graduate in the METCO program in the town of Walpole. So, needless to say, I could tell you some stories. I have gone to predominantly white schools and integrated into a lot of white communities through my education. I was fortunate to go to college in the South. I went to HBCU, and ironically, to be honest with you, you can experience even racism attending an HBCU. There's racism even among your own people. And then for graduate school, I went to a predominantly white Christian school. After I left Hampton University, I came home for a little while and went to Regent University in Virginia Beach, across the bay, kind of, and had quite some experiences even in graduate school. Today, when I was watching one of the TV programs, I thought of one situation when I had an encounter with police, because they were asking people when they had encounters with police. And the one encounter I can remember is that in graduate school, 2 white female roommates and I were coming home, and we were sharing a house in graduate school together. And we actually sat outside in the car for a moment, outside of our house in Virginia Beach. And a police car pulled up beside us, and they got out to question us. And I was sitting in the back, and they put the flashlight in my face, not theirs. And needless to say, I felt very intimidated and very uncomfortable. And we were in front of our house. Fortunately, it didn't escalate, but needless to tell you, I was frightened. So, yes, it's a reality. In terms of other times that I've dealt with racism, is that when I was a student in Walpole, I was a go-getter. And there were not many black students attending Walpole schools, and I actually was one of 5 African Americans in my grade level, and I decided to run for class officer. Sophomore and junior year, I ran, and I became the vice president of our class. And there was about 600 students, if I remember correctly, in our class. In the senior year, I decided to run for president because I had worked very hard sophomore and junior year. And what shocked me, now I have to admit, in some ways, I didn't really look at it per se as racism. It might have been because I kind of felt a little bit comfortable. I looked at it more as peer pressure in some ways, but as I look back, perhaps it was. But one of my classmates that wanted to run against me for president, who was a popular cheerleader, literally came up to my face and told me I had no business running and I should just give it up because she was going to win by a popular vote. We've heard that term in politics, right? And I'm the kind of person all my life, if you tell me not to do something, that infuses me to be more determined to do it and try. And I ran. And I gave it all I had to give. And needless to say, I did win. And I won by a landslide. And humbly and proudly, I am so humbled and excited that Jean McGuire, one of the founding members of MECO today, tells me that I am one of her proud students because she still refers to me as the class president of Walpole. And God rest his soul, one of my classmates passed away a few years ago, but I remember when social media first opened up. He found me when I was living in Georgia a few years ago, and it was during the time that Barack Obama was running for office, and he friended me on MySpace. And he put tears in my eyes because he said that he was proud of me and proud to know me as a friend because of how I got our class through our senior year with our fundraisers, and that I stood up and ran for president. And he literally equated me to Barack Obama. He said that I was our Barack Obama of our class. But I had to deal with some racism through my experiences being in a predominantly white community. My sister had to. She was called the N-word. But fortunately, we had a good mother that taught us how to handle those kinds of situations. And I'm so grateful to the MECO program that during desegregation, I was able to have a wonderful educational experience through the Walpole school system. And I thank the Adamai family, who was my host family, and Ellen, who's my sister to this day, and Mr. Vani, who was a wonderful elementary principal that supported us through that foundation time, and every teacher and principal I had through Walpole that empowered me to be the great educator that I am today. So that's my first segment today on the state of our country during this George Floyd era and all of the chaos, but yet we shall overcome. This is Anita Hamilton on June 3rd, 2020. And I'll be back with poetry and music to uplift our souls as we know we shall overcome.